because they're sturdy, you know? Like a lobster.
What should I do with this?
You put it on if you want. Anyone else see the, Oh no. Oh no. Wait, what? Oh, right, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. Anyone else see the trailer for the live action Lilo and Stitch? Because,
Is that a thing?
yeah. I saw it earlier today.
Cool.
No, not cool.
Why? What's wrong with it?
It don't look good. Why they don't need to make that.
Some people like live action though.
Not many. Have you not seen how much Disney is dying from them making these live action movies?
I guess.
It's like a terrible, terrible idea. And,
It's stinky. I like peanut stock bowl.
well, guess you'll just have to wash the quilt then, won't you? We're live, by the way.
I know.
I'm glad you know. Good evening. I just wanted to have a little mini complain about Lilo and Stitch because I love Lilo and Stitch and I love Stitch. And it makes me sad that that's the next one to be bastardized
Stop it.
by... Sorry. To be bastardized by Disney's ridiculous desire to remake all their films. And it looks so pointless. Just... It didn't need to happen. Although, it does offend me to think that Lilo and Stitch is actually 21 years old at this point. Or is it 23 years old?
Is it?
Yeah.
Older than Renee?
Oh, it's fucking old, babe.
Yeah.
Lila. 2002. Yeah, it's 23 years old almost.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It
I
really
did
is.
not realise that.
I didn't either until I literally started talking about it. And I'm like, Lilo and Stitch is as old now as, like, suitable example. Lilo and Stitch is as old now as the first Star Wars was when I was 10,
Weird.
I think. Yeah. No, 11. Somewhere along the lines. Either way. Disturbing thoughts. Horrifying. But ultimately, I'm not going to go. You know, I realised while I was watching that trailer that I'm weirdly proud of the fact that I can say I have never seen any of these live action remakes that Disney have been going through. I haven't seen any of them, and I have no desire to see any of them because I love classic Disney, and this new wave shit is just pointless. Go back to the original style, you cowards! Stop with your CG. Go back to pen and paper. Or pencil and paper.
Blanket needs washing again. It's musty.
So soon.
Yeah.
Go back to the pen and pencils and the watercolors. Make good movies again, please.
I love the watercolor background.
Yes, they were amazing. That's one of the many reasons why I love Lilo and Stitch, because all the backgrounds in that was fucking watercolors. And it was beautiful. Anyway, ranting aside, good evening everybody. Welcome. Sorry I wasn't around on Tuesday. We got kind of sidetracked and busy with other things. But it's a good job that I had already done an extra stream on the weekend to sort of basically fill in the gap for Final Fantasy VII. So that worked out quite nicely. And I will probably do another one again on Saturday, this Saturday coming. So that'll be fun. Other than that, how are you all? How have you been? I hope you've been having a wonderful week, as always. I hope things have been going your way. Have you been getting what you've needed? Good night's sleep, good food, all that jazz. Because you deserve it. PP seems to disagree. I am, as you can tell, here with my beloved Bun Bun.
Hello.
And my wonderful PP, who is currently unhappy with the position of Paige's legs because she wants them in a specific way so she can curl up like comfortably. And now
It's very rude.
Paige is stuck there forever. Or at least until Peanut has to go and pee. It's fine, she's now cleaning herself. Peanut, not Paige. So, yes, back for a little bit more stories from Saul. Been looking forward to this shit, loving it so good. Seeing the others in the group chat that my friends and I, including the guy who created this game, are in. And seeing them getting their copies at last. So I'm not the only one who's playing it now. Sharing our pathways and what's happening and all that. It's good shit. I still highly recommend. Check out the people. Blue Sky, no. Space Colony Studios over on Blue Sky for John, the guy behind it all. I will eventually get these names memorized, but Flumby Wumby, what was his name? Gumbo Wumbo, Buttsman Savage. I think I'd remember that one. That's K Butts Corner. And Flumby Dumby Daniel. That's the artist and the sound and music guys, respectively. Check them out. Check out their shit. Keep an eye on it all. There will be more wonderful things to come. But with preamble aside, it's time to go and explore the name of the other ship that I just... O'Brien! That's what it's called, the O'Brien. I've not been able to remember that at all, and you'd think it would be super easy for me to check it out, but I did not. Because I am lazy, and I never do my homework. Anyway. So we're going over to the O'Brien. It has been suffering the same thing that the Gundog did, the mysterious power outage. It has been several hours, and the assumption is that everyone there is dead. So we're going to go find out. Us and our good buddy Hansen, our war buddy, who is a cock of the highest order. So Hansen says, "Alright, let's go." In a well-practiced motion, Hansen releases himself from his seat's harness, moves forward and grabs the lever to open the cockpit's hatch. As soon as it's open, you feel the rush of the cockpit's air escaping. Meanwhile, Hansen pulls himself out and steps into the airlock. Having a slightly harder time with the straps on your harness, it takes you a few moments longer to release yourself. Once free, you gather up the PST, that's that computer thingy we're using to open doors, and the instructions the chief had given you before making your way out of the Juno.
Pretty sure Mummy's bleeding, so I have to go to the toilet.
Oh no. Let me know if you need anything.
Okay.
The two of you tentatively make your way from the airlock itself through to the room beyond. Although nothing is obviously broken or wrong with the fact that you're standing in an area identical... Although nothing is obviously broken or wrong, the fact you're standing in an area identical to the one on the Gundog, but open to space and completely uninhabitable, sends a shiver down your spine. John, this sentence requires at least 3 commas. I'm sorry, but I do need to point that out. There. And there. Please. Anyway, sorry. That's my editor background coming out. You look to Hansen and see him mouthing something that you can't hear. You continue to stand there in confusion as Hansen wordlessly gestures at you until he looks exasperated. It takes you a moment, but you realize what's going on and reach up to the radio on your chest panel, flicking the switch that activates it. "It's about time you figured that out, sir." Hansen's voice crackles over your helmet speaker. Unlike the Juno, where the cockpit was pressurized so you could hear each other, you now find yourself standing in a complete vacuum, where no sound can travel. So, what's the plan? You turn to survey the empty void of the airlock. The first priority given by the captain was assisting the crew of the O'Brien to get their ship back online, but judging the current state of things, you weren't sure that you'd have that much luck with that. The plan. You say to yourself more than to Hansen as you go over the current situation in your mind. That's right, Lieutenant. The plan. Right now you've got rank, so without Lord screeching down our comms line, this is on you. Unless you're after a trip down memory lane and want to sit in the Juno's cockpit whilst I do everything. Fuck you. A mix of shame and anger swells inside you as you bite your tongue to not snap at Hansen with the first thing that comes to mind. Stow it, Ensign. Despite the way he said it, he wasn't wrong. With nothing coming from the Gundog, you are now the highest ranking officer involved with this mission. Alright, the first priority was to assist the crew. It doesn't look like anyone's going to be in this part of the ship, but we still need to try. Since I've used the PST before, it's going to be easier for me to carry out that search. While I'm doing that, you can start removing the ship's black box. You hold up the manila folder that the chief had given you on the Gundog, and Hansen takes it from you, clumsily flicking through it with his gloved hands. It's on the bridge, huh? How are we going to get up there? Same way I did it on the Gundog. Come on. You turn around. Oh, music. You turn around and head into the ship, eventually arriving in the central hub. Okay then, Lieutenant, now what? As you walk past Hansen to where the maintenance hatch is located, next to the elevators, you take the opportunity to quickly switch your radio off, tell Hansen exactly what he can do next, then switch it back on again. He said the inside thing out loud. What's next, Ensign, is this. You run your fingers down the seam between the panels and the panel and the wall, and quickly find the catch. Unlike the one on the bridge, you're able to fit your suit's fingers into this one, and you quickly release it. As the hatch comes away in your hands, you wait to feel the sensation of air rushing out of the crawlway. Unfortunately, you feel nothing, confirming one of the fears you had about the ship and her crew. Placing the hatch down, you turn to Hansen, saying nothing about your discovery and instead gesturing to the ladder. At the top of this ladder, you'll find another panel like this one that leads into the bridge. To release it, all you need to do is push on the catch from the inside. Think you can handle that? What do you think, Lieutenant? You're not dealing with some dumb security officer here or anything. Let a pilot show you how it's done. With a swagger that's only exaggerated by the bulk of his suit, Hansen strides past you, steps into the access tunnel, and heads up the ladder. You take the opportunity to turn your radio off again and tell him what you really think about pilots. Once you're done, you switch it back on in case he sends any transmissions. Now that you've set into work, it's up to you to try and find any survivors of the O'Brien's crew and use their help to get the ship back online. You look around the empty central hub, the same silence that previously filled the Gundog now filling your helmet. After a moment of contemplation, you head towards the first place you think it may be fruitful to explore. I get the choice, huh? Looks like these are out of action, just like the Gundog's power went off. That means the only way to the bridge or sickbay is through the maintenance crawlway. You go your entire career with never seeing the inside of one of these things, and then suddenly you spend your entire day climbing up and down them. The panel was still attached though, which means no one's come down from the bridge. Not this way, at least. I don't see anyone up that way, and then again, with this whole area depressurized. You stop as you enter the room just before the airlock, where you'd been so used to the... Sorry? You good?
Yeah. Not just yet, but I won't be surprised if it was soon.
Need anything?
No.
Hello?
Oh, come on. This little face girl.
Oh, yeah. She's in the beanbag.
Yeah.
You stop as you enter the room just before the airlock, where you'd been so used to the huge main shutter and its warnings on the Gundog. Here on the O'Brien was nothing but a vast corridor into space. Being able to see the stars like this, from this position, you couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. Their light, as gentle as it is, feels like a forced intrusion on this room, somewhere they should never illuminate. You spend a few more moments gazing out of the airlock before you shake your head to clear your thoughts. If there was any hope for the O'Brien's crew, it was that you'd act fast and stargazing wasn't going to help anyone. You begin to turn to leave, but out of the corner of your eye you notice that the terminal next to the airlock appears to be displaying something. How does this terminal still have power when everything else is dead? You hurry over to the terminal in case it's displaying something important that could give you some hint as to whether there were any survivors left on board. What? Ooh. What's Cassie's personnel file showing up here for? Hindered by the large gloves of your suit, you attempt to enter a command that will take you back to the terminal's menu screen, hoping to gain access to some of the ship's functionality. Very spooky. After a few keystrokes, though, the screen shuts down, leaving you staring at nothing but a dim reflection in the curved glass. What is going on with these files? You tap a few different keys before giving the terminal a whack on its casing, but nothing you can do can bring it back to life. Slightly perturbed, you make a mental note to ask the chief about it later. For now, you head back to your important task, finding survivors. So can I... That makes sense to close to close the airlock manually now. The only thing that would do is close off the yard frame and make it harder to leave if you can't get the power back on. Grabbing the handle on the suit's container, you twist it until the lock disengages, and then open the door. Reaching in, you grab the radio on the suit's breast panel and detach it before turning it on and bringing it to your face. No signal, huh? You check your radio is set to the same broadcast frequency as the O'Brien's, and after replacing the other suit's radio set, yours to transmit. This is Lieutenant N.J. Finch of the JFS Gundog. We're here to provide assistance to any crew of the JFS O'Brien. I repeat, it's Lieutenant N.J. Finch of the JFS Gundog. We're here to provide assistance to any crew of the JFS O'Brien. Boat's still here. Doesn't look like anyone's done a spacewalk of their own, unless they used a suit from somewhere else. Can't figure out why they'd open both doors at once. They must have known what would happen. Let's go back to the central hub. Can I go down, Signy? You reach out into the maintenance crawlway and grab a rung on the ladder. Stepping forward, you place your feet into another rung that you can barely see, and then, instead of following Hansen up, you start moving downwards. As you descend the crawlway, the crawlway eventually becomes completely dark. The only indication you're given that you've reached the bottom is when you bring your foot down and you unexpectedly stomp on a floor panel.
Yeah, she wants to be by me so badly. She just covered underneath. I just pulled it over.
Mm-hmm.
She's just against
she's
me.
supposed to be up against money.
It's
Who wouldn't?
very cute.
It's most adorable.
Makes me feel a bit better.
Good. Now at the bottom of the shaft, you grope around in the darkness, looking for the catch that will release the panel by the elevator into sickbay. After a few minutes of sliding your palms around blindly, your suit's glove catches on something. You investigate it with your fingertips to confirm it's what you're looking for before releasing it, grabbing the panel as it falls away and placing it to the side as you step through into the sickbay. Oh no! With no rush of air to indicate that you depressurized the room, you were almost entirely certain you knew what to expect. But what you find goes beyond. Brrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr You see the crumpled form of someone wearing a white coat, much like Dr. Rosarium's. I'll be right back. I need to go blow my nose. This is getting crazy. I return. Apologies. Behind the desk, set to meet those who enter the sick bay, you see the crumpled form of someone wearing a white coat, much like Dr. Rosarium's. Quickly make your way over to them, but as you do, you stop momentarily, and you feel something crunching underneath your boots. Looking around, you can see that the doctor is surrounded by broken glass. Taking stock of the room, you realise that the cabinets at the far end of the sick bay are all still locked. The glass panels have been shattered, and their contents scattered. Instead of trying to puzzle out what's happened, you turn your attention back to the doctor, kneeling down by them and gently turning them over. You're faced with a woman who seems to be in her mid-50s, her sandy hair done up in a loose bun with errant strands tucked behind her ears. You notice the two lenses set into a round wire frame spectacles. One is cracked and the frame sit askew on her face. Although her pale blue eyes are wide open and staring at you, they don't move and she does not blink. Her skin is pallid, matching the cool blue of her eyes and the striking red of her hair. Striking red of her lipstick. I have no idea where I got hair from. The striking red of her lipstick, standing out in a dramatic contrast. You stay holding the doctor for a moment before gently laying her down, and, with as much delicacy as you can manage in your bulky spacesuit, you close her eyes. As you stand up, you exhale deeply. Although it was almost certain this would be the scenario you'd be facing, for most of the ship since the central area had been depressurized with no safety measures engaged, you'd been holding out hope that you'd find crew members alive and well. Despite the sight of the doctor, you still hold on to that hope. As you survey the room, you turn your attention back to the glass underfoot and the shattering frontage of the cabinets. Shattered frontage. What happened here? The ship's doctor. It looks like she was involved in a struggle down here, but I can't tell whether she died before or after the ship was depressurized. As you head towards the back of the room to examine the cabinets, you feel the crunch of glass fragments under your feet. Although the floor is scattered with various boxes and bottles of different medicines, there's something in particular that catches your eye. You squat down and pick up an open packet that you recognize. NutriShake mix. Shake backs. As you turn the pouch over in your hands and look inside, you find it's completely empty of the powder that it should contain. Placing it back on the floor, you look around and realize that, whilst all the boxes of medication are still sealed, the packets you can see torn open are all NutriShake packets. Would someone really do this, all for NutriShakes? I mean, I hear they are finger-licking weird. All vacant. Could whoever have done this been in for the treatment? Export the treatment. There's no one in there right now. No point in opening that door. Okay then. Can I talk to the corpse? There's no one here right now. Can I use the corpse? You stand over the doctor, trying to see if there are any clues to what happened to her beyond the crack in her glasses lens. As you survey her, you notice that, unlike Dr. Rosarium, she doesn't wear her stethoscope around her neck or her keycard on a lanyard. Hang on her keycard. The thought reminds you of the Chief's instructions, that you need to use a keycard from a member of the O'Brien's crew if you're going to activate any doors with the PST. You steel your resolve, aware of what you need to do, and not finding the concept altogether pleasant. Sorry about this, Doctor. Squatting beside her, you pat the doctor down. Although the thickness of your spacesuit's gloves make the task difficult, you do your best to be respectful. Eventually, you reach the doctor's waist and feel a protrusion from her side. Opening her white coat, you see an internal pocket, and after a moment spent trying to fit your gloved hand inside, you manage to grab hold of something and pull it out. You've got the doctor's keycard. Hey. You stand up and read the name on the back of the card, Dr. Esri de Boer. You unclasp a pouch at the side of your suit, deposit the card, and then close it again. The doctor won't have the clearance to let me access the central computer, but maybe this will let me find someone who does. Thank you for your help, Dr. de Boer. I'm just sorry we couldn't get here sooner. You walk up to one of the cabinets with a broken frontage and gently pull on its handle. As you'd expected, it's still locked and doesn't budge. Looking down at your feet amongst various packets of medication that appear to have been hastily pulled out of the cabinet, you can see a selection of NutriShake packets all torn open. Picking one up, you check its contents to find it's completely empty. Could this really have happened over nutritional supplements? Okay then, we're moving on. Having made your way back to the maintenance crawlway, you work your way up into the darkness. The dull starlight from the airlock that illuminates the central hub barely illuminating the exit button. As you continue towards it, you pause your radio. Excuse me while I just fuck up this very simple sentence. As you continue forwards, I fucked up again. As you continue towards it, if you put... Oh my god, why can't I read tonight? As you continue towards it, you pause as your radio hisses into life. Why was that such a hard sentence? That was ridiculous. Hello, Hanson. Lieutenant Commander Quinn from the JFS Gundog. Cassie, what are you doing on this? We're picking up your signal and have arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinates. Over. Cassie, what are you... We read you. That's a sweet voice you've got there, Gundog. I'm transmitting coordinates and mission update files now. It's good to finally... What? This is from when? Roger that, JFS O'Brien. This is Lieutenant Commander Quinn from the JFS Gundog. We're picking up your signal and have arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinates. Over. Oh, it's repeating. The snippet of conversation between Cassie and Lieutenant Bashir loops a few times until eventually fading out in the distance. With as little explanation as to why the transmission started, it ends. What would be transmitting that recording? So, the aft thoroughfare. The blast door is just like the one in the Gundog. Only takes just as much battery to open too. It's not worth trying to open until I've got the access cards. The odds of someone being in there are slim, but it's worth checking. Move to the armory. Bracing yourself with your left hand against the wall by the entrance to the armory, you bring your right hand down in a fist against the door. You continue to pound your fist to get against the unyielding entryway, hoping that if there's anyone in there and they have enough air, they'll be able to hear you and respond. Makes sense. I'm the dumbass, it's fine. After a few seconds of pounding, you press your helmet against the door, hoping that you can pick up on the vibrations of somebody returning a signal. Yeah, okay, then the plan does kind of fall apart when you realise that even if they did bang on it, you wouldn't know. You're met with nothing but silence. You stand back and hammer on the door, harder this time. After your first fist begins to ache, you press your helmet back against the door's panel, holding your breath and listening out for any signs of activity. If anything, it made more sense to put your hand against it, wouldn't it? Because then you could feel the tremors. With no sign of life, you dejectedly step back, giving the door one final slam with your fist and cursing the silence. Can I go in? Didn't get any answer last time, there's no point in trying again. Out of order. Just want to check that, which I hadn't looked at before. Go back to the central hub. And we'll go to the Foresight Thoroughfare. Move to the hangar, yes. As you make your way through the gloom of the Foresight Thoroughfare, you absent-mindedly knock on the low-gravity warning sign, just before the double doors that lead into the ship's hangar, which I still want, by the way, John. Have that made. Placing the portable sub-terminal by your feet, you hammer on the doors with your fist, hoping that if anyone's in there, they'll hear your signal and reciprocate in kind. After around 10 seconds of this, you stop and press your helmet against the door. If there's any noise in there, the vibrations should travel through the door and into your helmet, allowing you to hear it. I guess no one's in there. Hey, can you hear me in there? You call out, resuming your hammering on the door, when you get no response. Hey, whoever's in there, we're from the JFS Gundog. We're here to rescue you. Can you hear me? Of course they can't hear you. There's definitely someone in there. Although you're still not getting an obvious response, the knowledge that someone is in there fills you with a sense of urgency, and you hurriedly set your suit's radio to broadcast. This is Lieutenant N.J. Finch of the JFS Gundog. We're here to provide assistance to any crew on the JFS O'Brien. I repeat that thing I just said before. It doesn't seem like they can hear me, but if there's a chance the commander is in there, I need to take it. Although there's a chance they may not be in a spacesuit yet. If I open these doors now, I risk pulling them into the vacuum. There may be something I've missed that could let me get the access codes more safely. Keep exploring, we ain't gonna do that just yet. It's really tempting to just charge in there and grab them, but I should only do it if there's no other option. I'll have this sorted out soon, whoever you are. And I'm gonna save there because suddenly I'm paranoid. Can I go get a chocolate bar? Mess hall. Given the time, the gun dog and, presumably, the O'Brien had blacked out, you knew there shouldn't have been anyone in the mess hall. Despite this, you also know that it wasn't uncommon for crew members to disappear from stations briefly to grab a quick pick-me-up or treat, especially if their duty was quiet, and especially if that crew member's name was Cassandra Quinn. What a chap! You go through the routine of hammering on the door, waiting for a response and continuing to batter it with your fist, just in case you hadn't been heard the first time. Despite your best efforts, you don't manage to get a response. There was no response, so I don't think anyone's in there. I hope. But I want to go get a bar of chocolate. You exhale slowly as you look at the door to the O'Brien's fire control. On the gun dog, Dylan had his music to keep him occupied. Whoever was assigned to this station on the O'Brien probably wasn't so lucky. With this thought in mind, you carry out the process of hammering on the door, resting your helmet on it and then giving it another go after not getting nothing but silence in return.
Okay.
Yes, man.
So I'm looking at a Bichon Frise because I'm trying to think of desserts and stuff after the dogs I know.
Right.
And it's really funny just looking at pictures because you get extremely groomed ones that look like this, and then you get this
Libby, you get nibbles.
full-on scrunkle like this.
Nibbles, yeah.
And it's just such a dramatic difference because these dogs are often used as show dogs, but people also just have them as regular pets, and you can so tell which one is used as Avastar, and the other one's just
And I much prefer the rah ones because Libbles is amazing.
It's adorable. It's just kind of funny to me to see.
Libbles, of course, being one of the many dogs in our life. My sister's beloved little, she's a Bichon crossed with a Spaniel, I
I think it's because it does.
believe. Yeah, she's a Cavachon. King Charles Cavalier Spaniel and a Bichon Frise. And she looks a lot closer to, as Paige was describing, the Scrunkle Bichons, but she's so cute.
Yeah, like scruffy, curly, but very adorable and very sweet and loving.
I love her.
Lovely.
She's the best. I just go in there, pick her up. She's just like, yeah, Uncle Nathan, I love you.
When she's done giving loves to me.
Oh yeah, but that's only now. Only since you've usurped my position as her favorite. But I was her favorite first because I got to spend the most time with her when she was a puppy. Because literally the first day that my sister even got her, I ended up spending the most time with her because she had to go to work she had to go out that night. And I was babysitting, so I got to look after my baby niece and the puppy. And we had a wonderful bonding evening, and ever since then she's been like, I love you.
She also has a sheepdog now.
Oh my god, yes.
His name is Opie, and he is the best. We met him for the first time a few weeks back, and I was just like, he's the best.
He's so soft.
Yeah.
And so immediately also quite happy for me to scoop him up and cuddle him and just be like,
Honestly, that was a huge novelty to me because he's quite a large dog, even at 6 months.
not even that, he's 16 weeks, I think, 17, it'll be 18 weeks now.
He is massive and quite heavy, but he's the dog that you can just pick him up in your arms and he'll lay on his back and just rub his belly.
And try and nibble your nose or your cheek. Or in my case, my beard.
I just have not seen that with a dog that big because usually large dogs don't like being picked up like that. So I'm just weird.
That's why you gotta start them young, you gotta be careful of their backs, support their bums properly, and you pick them up from an early age, and then they're like, I like this when you do it. And then when other people do it, they go, no, get off me.
I can't wait till we get Adobe, and when they're huge, we can just do that.
Oh, I will carry that Dobie everywhere. I will hold our Dobie like I hold Peanut.
Yeah.
One hand under the chest and supporting the back and just be like, massive dog under my arm, and she'll be like, yeah.
That's our intention.
No, it's fine. I love talking about dogs like that. Even though I'm still a cat person.
Yeah, I have figured out that I am much more of a dog person than a cat person, which is weird because growing up I was always around cats. I think we had like one dog, but like I think it was given away to someone else just because I think we all thought that we would love a dog, and some of them were really insistent about it, just me and my family when I was little. And like it was okay for like a few months, but I think a lot of people just weren't that into the dog, I suppose. They just weren't bonded, and he slept outside in like a kennel as well, so like wasn't really like the best idea, so we just gave him up for adoption to someone else. I'm pretty sure like maybe a friend wanted him or something. I don't remember, I was quite young. Like under the age of 10. But like, I was always like growing up around cats, and my family are just like massive cat people. Like none of my family have dogs, and they always get cats. But like, so I'm the only one who like is like super into dogs. I like cats, but like I'm really planning on getting some. But I would much rather have lots of dogs.
We had both. We had the dog longer, but I got a cat when I was about 9 or 10, and I loved her so much, and she loved me despite hating everyone else.
Yeah, totally.
And I've just always been a cat person. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely fucking adore our darling little Pee-Pee, and I will love every one of our future dogs. But I will always be more of a cat person in general.
Yeah.
But I will always put 100% into every pet I help raise.
Yeah, because we extensively research like breeds and stuff like that, and just general like care of the animal, and we discuss it like extensively to make sure it's what we both want, rather than just one of us just agreeing to it because the other one is so into it. Like if it's a no for one of us, then it's just a no in general, because I would hate for it to be a case of like where we agree on like us both raising the animal, but then the other person just doesn't care that much about it, but doesn't say anything, and then it's just like, not just even if it's just one person's responsibility, but the animal like suffering because the other person is not into it. Like, I would hate for that to happen, because the scenario that would end up happening is that we would just end up giving the pet up for adoption, because it would just be too difficult to like live together, and one of us is just like, I don't want to raise this thing, and I just think it would be like difficult to get past, and it would be awkward and uncomfortable.
It's a very important thing to do, I think. Like, as sweet as it looks whenever you see like an online thing where someone goes, oh, I'm going to surprise you with a dog, unless they have properly done the research and do know for a fact that they are capable of looking after that animal, like, they shouldn't do that. Like, no one should ever surprise someone or get a gift of a dog unless it is something that you have both discussed extensively.
Yeah.
Like, even with Peanut, obviously she wound up very suddenly in our lives. We didn't even know what breed she was when we first got her, because when my mum got her, she was under the impression that Peanut was a Chihuahua, like a part, or at least part Chihuahua. But after she started growing up a bit more, we started doing a little bit more research, trying to find out what kind of breed she actually was, and that's when we eventually came. I was under the impression that she was an Iggy for a while, but then I think it was you came across the Min Bin thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I posted her on the Iggy subreddit. They said no, she looks like a miniature pinscher. I was just like, what is that? And I googled it, and then I saw these pictures, and like, because they have like the tan ones, and they also have like the red one, which is like a reddish brown. And I saw them, and I was just like, wait, that's Peanut. And I showed it to you, and you were just like, that's exactly what she looks like. And like, even with the moles, like on both sides of her like cheeks and underneath her chin, they're like characteristics of the Min Bin. And so I was just like, she even has the moles in the exact same places.
She has to be close to, if not a purebred Min Bin, because there are Min Pins on that subreddit that look the spit of her. But there are times where I log into it and I'm like, oh, Paige is posting on Reddit again, and you'll be like, no, I'm not. Like, oh, okay, oh, that's Harley.
Yeah.
And like, even then, like I said, we didn't even know what she was until Paige found that, and then we heavily researched what Min Bins were, even before, again, we wound up actually with her, just because we wanted to be able to help look after her. And then my mum was like, we can't keep her, unfortunately, she's not a good fit for the house, so would you mind taking her? And of course we said absolutely, because by that point she'd already bonded with and fallen in love with Paige. And it was just a matter of getting her to like me, which she does now. And well, she did pretty quickly. I mean, I make that kind of sound like it took forever, but like within a week or so, she was just like, I like you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we always made sure that we knew what we were doing from day one, or as close to know what we were doing from day one. And that is the way that I think you should do it with any pet or children. You should, if you've got the option to. Obviously, I know that accidents can happen. But yeah, you should always research it as best you can and make sure that you are the right fit for that pet as much as they are the right fit for you. And I feel like we have definitely come to Peanut's aid and stepped up and helped her
Yeah.
immeasurably.
Like, people say that, like, it doesn't really matter what breed your dog is. Like, if you adopted it or something and, like, you don't know, or they could just be mixed heavily, I guess. Like, if they're mixed heavily, then it's not really, like, something you will be able to understand.
Yeah.
But, like, if it's something where they're clearly, like, a distinct looking breed and you aren't sure, like, you definitely should find out so that, because certain breeds, I think, especially with small dogs, it's, like, a lot of the time they need, like, certain kinds of care and certain kinds of like temperaments to be around because they're quite sensitive. Like with Min Pins or like Iggy's, they have very like nervous dispositions and they can be quite like skittish and nervous in general sometimes. So like you really should research that thing if your dog is quite small because they can like have lots of health problems if your household is like unstable or you are just quite loud people in general, like not like in a mean way, but like maybe you're just quite loud voices and stuff, you're probably not really going to be the best fit for a Minpin or a Chihuahua even, because they just react to things like that so quickly and very sensitively. Like a lot of like medium or large dogs like adjust to those things easier I think, but I think it's just important to remember, like, if you really should just know about it.
Yeah. And got to plan ahead and stuff, because like you say, they have certain dispositions and whatnot, but they also have a habit of, a lot of dog breeds do tend to have like similar ailments and issues.
Yeah.
Like with Blue being a Chihuahua, obviously he has the teeth issues where he's got too many teeth in the size of his face because that's a breed thing, and you know, it pays to know what you're getting into ahead of time.
Yeah. It's like, it's never a good thing when you just adopt a dog in good faith and like, you aren't sure what the breed is, or maybe like the rescue center thought they were something but are completely wrong about it. And it's like, a lot of people, even people who adopt dogs, they still mostly want to know the background of that dog so that they know it can be a fit for them in their household and they don't have to go through like giving the dog up for adoption, which hurts everyone involved and also makes a lot of suffering on because it keeps being shifted to different places.
Yeah.
And so like you probably should know the background of your dog. Like sometimes it's just not possible, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you are someone who's like who is that sort of person and you adopt dogs like not knowing their background, then you know that you're just getting into like possibly a mixed bag of things and like at worst like a dog that's been abused or something. But usually people who do that are aware of this and like usually they tend to live alone or like they live with someone else but they don't have children, for example, so they're already prepared for that. But I know I personally would not adopt a dog that I couldn't get the background on like in a decent sort of way, because
Even though that's exactly what we've done.
kind of, yeah, but I think because Peanut, like, we've known her since she was like 3 months old, and she obviously hadn't been abused or anything. She had just been in like a household that seemed like that dog probably got pregnant by accident, possibly, and
I mean, we no one knows for sure, because when my mum bought her, she literally turned up at this woman was selling her online on that. What's that dog?
I think it was just an adoption website or something.
So yeah, and literally she turned up at this block of flats, knocked on the door, and this woman comes down wearing a big coat. And she's just like, "You here for the dog?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she opens the coat and pulls the dog out. Like Peanut was literally a coat, like she was basically like a Legend of Zelda item, just like do 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 do, pulled out of this coat and it's like, "Here you go, have this dog." And then that was it. We didn't know where she came from besides that. We didn't know parentage or anything, so it was kind of a mystery. Like I said, she didn't even know what breed she was.
Yeah, that's not like a normal process for getting a dog at all. Like, it's not something people typically do. You're supposed to
Don't buy
like,
dogs from Coke.
view the mother and sometimes the father as well. Because sometimes the people have them as both as pets, but not always, obviously. But usually you should be able to see the mother. If you can't, then just don't buy the fucking dog.
Also, she was a little bit too early as well because she was less than 3 weeks old when Mum adopted her.
Yeah.
Which obviously they should stay with the mother for 12 weeks. So
Yeah.
they kind of all started off wrong, but we know that she was healthy at least. She had all of her boosters and
Yeah,
she was
perfectly
very well.
healthy.
She was at least in good health, good shape,
Yeah, she's
and
perfect-
has only been better since.
She doesn't seem like she's been like inbred or anything like that. She's perfectly healthy. She doesn't have any like massive behavioral issues that seem as if it's like a dog that's been overlooked.
Yeah, she's just the usual sort of min pin chipper.
Yeah. But yeah, like with pets, we used to want reptiles, didn't we?
Yeah.
But like now it's like it's a no because it doesn't seem as if it will fit us properly. Like I don't like geckos for one thing, and like I was saying to Nathan the other day that I would like to get like other reptiles, but only because they have like dog-like behavior.
I mean, I want a tegu, but they are basically just dog reptiles.
Yeah, and it's just like they're big and they would need their own space and
Like a whole room to themselves.
and they need so much like specialist care and like a lot of different like dietary requirements, and it's just like, well, we might as well just get another fucking dog then if they have to. Like,
It's just not necessarily the most viable.
yeah.
But on that note, apologies.
Sorry.
Sorry for the dog tangent, but Peanut's an important part of our life, and it's nice to share and to spread awareness if possible. Hopefully, at least one person will hear that and think and like have a better understanding of how they should go about getting a dog, or maybe think twice about just randomly getting a dog. Like there might be someone who's just thinking to themselves, maybe I'll surprise my girlfriend with this pug, and then hear that and be like, maybe I better not.
But the thing is, I don't necessarily disagree with getting a dog as like a surprise gift. But what like I think you can do is like obviously you will have discussed it with your partner or whatever for like an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And then, but you don't know when either of you are gonna get the dog. But then say you surprise her on her birthday, look, I got this dog that we've been like talking about getting for like months on end, and we've like extensively researched it.
Like if you've already planned like dead set, like for example how we're dead set on getting ourselves a Doberman.
Yeah.
If in say 10 years time one of us happens to come across a Doberman and we're in a good position like financially and household wise, then it wouldn't be wrong for us to go, here I got a puppy, and we're like, yay.
It's like, yeah, it's the dog we've been talking about for 10 years, of course I will.
But obviously if it's just like you just have a talk one weekend, you're like, I really fancy a Shih Tzu, and then like a week later you're like, look what I found huddled
Like-
behind a bin in the park.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to fucking random shit. Tzu.
Anyway, sorry about that. Let's see what else. Let's go back to finding people in the ship. After a few attempts, you hear. Where are we? What's going on? Oh yes, the airlock. After a few attempts, where you hear nothing coming from the room beyond, you step back, mentally crossing this room from your list of potential safe havens on board. Fire room. That was it. Yes. Crew quarters. Then the hangar and mess room. Fine. Crew quarters. Blah 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 blah. Albany Row. If the quarters distribution is the same as the gun dogs, this must be the O'Brien's gunner. Rory Way. I wonder if they have a junior engineer on placement like Dalton. Usk Stout. Based off where their quarters are, they're probably a pilot like Haru. Mark Butte. This is where Hansen's room is on the gun dog. I guess they could be one of the armoured frame pilots. For all the effort you put into slamming your fist against the door to signal anyone that might be inside, your efforts are wasted. You go through the motion of checking for signs of life, but you don't hear anything back. You go through the same thing. You go through the same thing again. Again, no one in this one. Brian Cooper's. stood outside of the door that would be yours had you served on the O'Brien instead of the gun dog, you can't help but feel a bit nauseous. The familiarity of the door, the corridor, the thoroughfare, it all forces you to think about how close the gun dog came to being out here before the O'Brien. You push that thought from your mind. As close as it was to happening, it didn't. You were here, now, not whoever lived behind that door. Holding up your right hand into a fist, you hammer it against the door, then place your helmet against it, waiting for a response. When you don't get one, you repeat the process a few more times, until eventually you step back, rubbing your gloved hand to try and ease the soreness from pounding on the door. You're gonna show off your delicious cookie. No one's in. Did you get to show off? Oh, it's your pizza.
I'm not pizza.
I thought you got a cookie.
Yeah, I made amazing cookies.
She really did. At 10 o'clock last night. I was telling everyone at work about how it was basically a situation of you spend the whole evening going, I'm going to make some cookies tonight. No, I'm not going to make cookies tonight. No, I should make the cookies tonight. No, I'll do them tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to do them tonight. And then it was like 8:30. And then I'm in bed at like 10 o'clock and she goes, I've made the cookies. And I'm like, yeah, they smell good. Do you want one? I'm in bed.
What did they say?
They just laughed. I told them about how I'm looking to use the your newfound love of your hobby of baking as inspiration for me to get back into my old-found hobby of running, so that I can counteract the baking.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I should get back into running. This is where Vanessa's room would be. It says here that it belongs to Jules Bashir. That was the lieutenant Cassie was speaking to just before all this started. This is where Cassie's quarters are on the gun dog. The nameplate reads Kim Henry. They must be the O'Brien's second in command. I thought that was the doctor. Jala DeForge! Given the location of their room, I wonder if this is their chief engineer. Oh, I wonder if DeForge is the chief engineer. I see what you did there. Oh no, that's Esri DeBoer, the ship's doctor. I'm sorry I couldn't get to you in time, Dr. DeBoer. You approach the captain's quarters at the end of the corridor and see the same Jovian insignia as the one on the Captain Bartomew's door. Below it is a nameplate which proudly presents the O'Brien's captain's full name, Paul-Henri Gerard. With Dr. DeBoer's keycard in your possession, you move towards the captain's door and lay the PST off to the side. You had been saving the PST's battery, so when you confirmed a surviving member of the crew, it genuinely needed it. But the chance that the ship's captain was in there, as well as their card and access codes, was too great to ignore, and you were willing to use the battery power on it. Alright, let's go for it. Da-da-da-da. You kneel down beside the terminal linked to the captain's quarters and begin the well-practiced process of connecting the PST and going through its menus, eventually selecting the unlock function. And now, with a sense of trepidation, you unfasten the pouch on your belt and take out the doctor's keycard. As a security officer, your card had enough authority to access every room short of the central computer, even the captain's. You weren't entirely sure that a doctor's card would be sufficient. Without much of an alternative, you slide Dr. DeBoer's card into the slot and hold your breath. It should be, surely, because the doctor needs to be able to get around the ship. Thankfully, you see the door begin to slowly slide open, and with an exhalation of relief, you stand up. Once the door is open enough to allow you through, you make your way inside. Ah, what a cute little bonsai tree. As you'd expected, Captain Gerard's quarters were almost identical to Captain Bartomew's, with a few small differences, like the lack of any open bottles of liquor. Oh, so judgment me. So judgment me? What the fuck kind of a sentence was that? Oh, so judgmental, aren't we? As you walk in, you look around. Seeing no immediate sign of the captain, you move over to the bedroom portion of their quarters, only to find an immaculately made bed, the same basic features as the ones you'd seen in the captain's quarters on board the gun dog, with the same puke stains. Sorry. Crust! Oh, so gentle. Well, if they're not here, there's only one other place they could be. Leaving the bedroom, you walk past the desk and stand by the door to the bathroom. You gingerly knock, but after realizing that, with no air, no one will be able to hear you, that you banged on the door and wait for a response. With no answer forthcoming, you slide open the door, finding nothing nothing but a pristine bathroom. Well, I guess they're not here then. A bed, chest of drawers, a bedside table. Pretty much all the same things as Captain Bartolomew's quarters, just tidier. The exact same painting as the one in Captain Bartolomew's quarters. Probably done from a stencil or something, I guess. Captain's bathroom is certainly a lot smaller than the pods that you get in the standard crew. Smarter than the pods you get in the standard crew quarters. There's an actual toilet and a proper shower unit too. I wonder if when you reach Admiral, you get your own bathtub. A small bonsai tree. Regular plants are really expensive back on the colonies, so even getting the seedling to start one of these would cost a fortune. People say that the air in a room with a plant in it tastes way better than the normal than the normal reprocessed air you get on a ship or colony, but I've never been around a plant to try it out. The captain's desk, just like Captain Bartolomew's. It's got a terminal and what looks like a telephone, probably a hotline to the bridge. I think I like Captain Gerard's desk ornament much more than Captain Bartolomew's, though. What could be in those files? On the edge of the desk closest to the door into the quarters, you notice a stack of papers perched precariously, as if they'd been left in a hurry. Based on the same tractor feed engines you'd seen on the papers in Captain Bartolomew's quarters, you could assume that they'd been printed out on board, meaning that they were recent documents. The captain must have left in a rush if he didn't lock them away. That or they're nothing important. Before we check what that is, I must be right back, so I will do that. Be right back. I really needed that. Much better though. Now let's use the tree. If this was all for nothing, I guess I could take this back to the Gundog with me, though I don't know how long trees last in space. Although I should probably leave it alone until I know for certain.
Is it a black one?
I think it's a blip. You hesitate for a moment, considering whether or not you should pick up the files in front of you. Although in normal circumstances, doing such a thing would result in severe disciplinary action, you realize that these aren't exactly normal circumstances. Anything that could explain what had gone on or help the O'Brien had to be investigated. Besides, you think, it's not like this would be the very first report you'd read today that you shouldn't have. You take the file in hand and read the heavy printed text on the front. JCF Naval Report, JFS O'Brien, Mission Log 132-0804-0214. Flicking through the report is made difficult by the clumsiness of your spacesuit's gloves, but you manage to quickly skim your way through the file's contents. You scan the pages of general day-to-day ship operations.
It's Peanut.
I can't quite see from this distance. Send it to me now. To see if you can find anything out of the ordinary. As you work your way through the logs, a few curious entries in amongst the expected information catch your attention. April 8th, PC-214. JFS O'Brien's routine patrol path adjusted to investigate erratic Higgs field distortions in outer limits of JCF territory. April 19th, PC-214. Investigation reveals significant residual boson distortion, inconsistent with standard JCF drive output. JFS Gundog dispatched to support with investigation. April 21st, PC-214. Continuous sweep of the area surrounding distortion fields, unknown object. Distortion finds unknown object, not recognized as Jovian, Marshall, or Solar Federation. Instead dispatched to retrieve. Object onboarded at 1927 JST. April 22nd, PC-214. Long-range communication system remains down. Source not yet identified by Chief Engineer DeForge. O'Brien moved to rendezvous point to meet JFS Gundog for duty transfer. April 23rd, PC-214. Rendezvous with JFS Gundog behind schedule. Chief Engineer DeForge investigating unknown object for potential cause of communication failure. Destructive investigation authorized. Sounds like they ran into similar issues as us around the time they took whatever this unknown object is aboard. Unknown object, huh? It's the tree! But the tree is the unknown object. Alright, the terminal's not going to be working, so let's check those drawers. You head around to the back of the desk and try each drawer, working your way from top to bottom. Unsurprisingly, they're all locked. I'll need to find the keys if I'm going to get in there. As you head into the bedroom, you take the time to look around thoroughly. You hadn't liked doing this in Captain Bartholomew's quarters, and you didn't like doing it anymore here. Working your way from left to right, you check the large chest of drawers before moving to the bedside table, and then eventually the area around the bed. Despite a rigorous check of the room, you don't find anything interesting or useful, just personal effects of the captain that you can't help but feel guilty for rifling through. Although you can't think of anything important that you might find in the captain's bathroom, you feel a compulsion to search it anyway. That is my life. Despite a thorough examination, the only thing you leave with that you didn't have when you entered is an in-depth knowledge of the captain's choice in bathroom products. There's a time and a place for thinking about my civil heritage, and now isn't it? That's a lie. It's something again. I don't know why I keep clicking these things expecting something different, but I do.
Hey, the texture of the first batch of cookies is way different to the second batch.
Yeah. Although the two that I took to work with me today were wonderfully stuck together, but they came apart very nicely.
That was the second batch.
Yeah, so I figure. Okay, so there's nothing in there. So I'm guessing that there's only 3 places that the captain can be now. And that is either in the bridge, where they are probably dead, in the there, the hangar, where there is someone who might be alive, or in the engine room. So now we're gonna go to the bridge. As you make your way up the ladder towards the bridge, you find your progress slowed by the bulk of your spacesuit, as it catches against various protrusions that stand out from the walls of the shaft. Shaft. Despite having to stop multiple times to free yourself from these obstacles, you eventually see the faint outline of the entrance to the bridge above you. Clearing the remaining distance without incident, you step out from the hatch and onto the bridge. Oh. Corpses. The absence of any sign of depressurization when you removed the panel to the central hub, as well as what you'd seen in the sickbay, had prepared you for what you knew you were about to see. Knowing you were about to see it, however, did not make it any easier. At the station on the left, you see the slumped figure of a young man. From his uniform and general appearance, you recognize him as Lieutenant Bashir, the officer that Cassie had been speaking to moments before the power went out on the Gundog. Unlike when he'd appeared on one of the Gundog's view screens, the man you saw now had clearly suffered what looked like either a small explosion or massive electrical shock. The front of his uniform was at its best singed and at its worst completely charred, as were the skin of his hands and face. You grimace at the thought of what could have happened as you turn your attention to the captain's chair. There, slouching to the right, was the ship's captain, a rictus smile on his face, having seemingly suffered a similar fate. 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 Seemingly suffered a similar fate.
I don't see that even what
Seemingly suffered a similar fate. Whatever had happened to these two, it looked like something entirely different to what had happened to the doctor in the sickbay. Although she'd clearly been injured by something, or someone, the cause of death for these two looked much more obvious. Although the question remained, how? Hello? You paused for a moment. You'd almost put your hand down on the headrest of the captain's chair, but you quickly moved it away. If something had electrocuted these two, then... Pretty grim, right? Ugh, how did you not notice him? You almost fall backwards in surprise as Hansen's voice sounds suddenly from your helmet speakers, and he appears on the far side of the bridge, having emerged from underneath the control station on the right. Easy, Lieutenant, it's just me. What, never seen what a fried human looks like? You take a deep breath and exhale, catching the breath that Hansen had just scared out of you. Damn it, Cruis. What the hell were you doing hiding underneath there? Following orders, sir. Remember the plan? Hansen lazily waves the folder you passed on to him. At you. Wait, these guys look like they've been electrocuted. Based on where they are, did you check? Loosen up, Lieutenant. Power's not on. What's there to check for? You can't help but be amazed at Hansen's cavalier attitude towards the risk of a painful death by electrocution. Alright, how's retrieving the black box going? Not bad. I've managed to get most of the casing undone, but there's a lot going on in there, and this suit doesn't make it easy. What about you? Find anyone? You turn to look at the captain and Lieutenant Bashir for a moment before looking back at Hansen. I checked the sickbay and found the ship's doctor. She's dead too. Aside from her, these two are the only crew members I've managed to confirm. It's not looking good. Guess that keeps things simple. No survivors. We get this box, then we get out of here. What? You want to hang around here a bit longer? This was a whole crew, Hansen. Some might still be alive. Guess you'd better get looking and find them, huh, Lieutenant? Ease up, Lieutenant. I can say this from experience. If everyone's dead, there's no use wishing they weren't. It's not going to bring them back. But if you're going to find them, you should get moving. Probably not much air left anywhere on this ship, even if they're lucky. With another shrug, Hansen walks away from you, heading back to the control station he was hidden under when you entered. Let me know when you are leaving, though, alright, Lieutenant? On the right side of the bridge, you see the station used to control the ship. Unlike Lieutenant Bashir's station, it didn't look like anyone was here when whatever had gone on happened. Instead, you can see Hansen underneath it. You hear the occasional mutter and grumble over your radio as he struggles to remove the parts needed to allow him access to the O'Brien's black box. Better to just leave him to it. On the left-hand side of the bridge, you see the station used for the ship management and communications. You knew that this is where Lieutenant Bashir would have been when Cassie spoke to him moments before the blackout. Like the rest of the bridge, you could see that every system was offline, nothing more than rows of dead screens and useless plastic and metal. Mindful of not disturbing the lieutenant's body, you examine the area to see if you can tell what could have caused this current condition. With no signs of damage, you rule out an explosion or catastrophic malfunction, leaving you to assume that he must have somehow received a massive electrical shock. What could have possibly caused something like that? Up your bum! Not where I guess. she is indeed up her bum.
Yeah, sure.
You circle the captain's chair, looking for anything that could tell you what had gone on when you lost contact. Instead, all you see is the stiff body of the ship's captain, slumped to one side and his hands tightly gripping the armrests. As you get closer to him, you see signs that whatever had happened to Lieutenant Bashir had also happened to him. Burns cover where his skin rests on the metal of the chair, and the black of his uniform shows scorch marks. Rest in peace, Captain Gerard. Hansen seems to be hard at work under the station. I should probably leave him alone. I don't think he'd appreciate my help even if needed. Nothing's working right now, so there's no helpful readouts or anything displayed. There's no point in me wasting any more time here. I've had enough of staring out at space for one day anyway. Although you already have Dr. de Boer's key card, you knew that it wouldn't have the clearance you need to access the ship's central computer. For that, you need either the captain's card or a card from one of the two members of operations. You gingerly move towards the lieutenant and, doing your best to be as gentle as possible, you pat down his left hand and trouser pocket. Feeling nothing through the thick gloves of your spacesuit, you head to the other side of his chair before repeating the same action in his right pocket. This time you feel something. With a sense of unease, you attempt to remove the contents of his pocket, whilst trying not to disturb the body too much. Eventually, but with some difficulty caused by the clumsiness of your spacesuit, and your desire not to disturb Bashir's body any more than you need to, you manage to pull out what feels like it could be his keycard. Oh, that don't look right. You turn the card over a few times. It's definitely the lieutenant's keycard, but it looks like it's been half melted. Not only is it warped out of shape, the plastic coating is blistered, the magnetic strip on the back almost entirely peeled off. You can tell from its condition that it's totally useless. You wouldn't even be able to fit it into a card reader or terminal even if the surface hadn't been ruined. Great, looks like this won't get me anywhere. Hopefully the captain's is in better condition, otherwise I'll need to find the second in command. If you can't find them, then there's nothing we can do for the O'Brien. Despite already having Captain de Boer's keycard, you still need... Knowing that Lieutenant Bashir's card had been destroyed, left the captain's card as your best bet. As you walk around to the front of the captain's chair, you shudder. The shock that must have killed him had left his hands clasping the armrests like talons. His face is gaunt, and his eyes open wide. Together with how the corners of his mouth had drawn back as far as they would go into a horrendous grin, the whole expression was unnerving, as if he'd been killed by some fatal but hilarious joke. You know what you need to do, and although it's a particularly practical necessity, something about it feels wrong. Sorry about this, Captain Gerard. You pat the captain down, but find no indication that he's carrying his keycard in his pockets. As you stand back for a moment, trying to think if there's anywhere he may have left it, your eyes are drawn to the hand tightly clenching the armrest, which also doubles as a control panel. You remember having seen Captain Bartlemuse inserting her keycard into the equivalent panel from the gun dog on occasion to unlock certain functions. A grim wave of realization hits you as you think that, if the card wasn't on the captain, the control panel is the most likely place it would be. The only issue was that Captain Gerard's death grip was covering the slot for the keycard. With a knot in your stomach, you lay your hand on the captain's. A shiver runs down your spine. You're just starting to squeeze your fingers underneath his palm and start pulling when, as you look down, you notice the gleam of starlight reflecting off a piece of plastic by the captain's foot. With a huge sigh of relief, you kneel down and take the card from the floor. Luckily for you, the captain must have dropped it before he was shocked. Just like Lieutenant Bashir's, the captain's card appeared to have suffered the same fate and was totally unusable. You can tell from its condition that it's not getting you anywhere. You sigh as you lay the remains of the card by the captain's hand. If I can't find a card with access to the central computer, there's no hope for the O'Brien. There's no sense disturbing the captain any further. The captain's cards may have been destroyed by whatever happened, but at least I've got Dr. de Boer's. With that I can access most of the ship. Might get lucky and find the O'Briens in second command. You look towards Hansen, who remains mostly out of sight, hidden by the bulk of the workstation. You spend a few seconds thinking about asking him if he needs any help, or asking how things are going, but after considering the likely responses you get to those questions, decide against it. Probably better to leave him be. Okay, then I guess that means I'm going down to the airlock. Not the airlock. You'd think I'd know my way around by now, but I bloody don't. Hangar. Let's just do a quick safety save, you never know. With Dr. De Boer's keycard, I'll be able to access the hangar. Although there's a chance that whoever is in there might not be in a spacesuit yet. If I open these doors now, I risk pulling them out into the vacuum. There may be something I've missed that could let me get access codes more safely. So it's suggesting that there might be something else, but 3 seconds to go in there and grab them, but I should do it anyway. It's still an option. Like I've been everywhere, haven't I? No. Which one's standing in front of the door that on the Gundog would be the entrance? Ah, this is what I was looking for. Standing in front of the door that on the Gundog would be the entrance to Cassandra's quarters, you begin to feel a bit queasy. You're doing your best not to think about how, aside from some lucky coincidences, this could have happened to the Gundog instead of the O'Brien. Despite your best efforts to keep the thought out of your mind, you can't help but dwell on seeing a door that could have been Cassie's. Who spends their free time on the other side of this door? Is it as much of a mess as Cassie's room? How close were the two of you from having this happen to you? Now is not the time for that. You remind yourself, stating it out loud to force the thoughts away. With your focus back on the task at hand, you repeat the process you've been using to check for signs of life or crew activity. Unfortunately, you get nothing back. No indication anyone's in there. No time wasting the no, but Same thing again. So yeah, there's nothing new to be read. Can I take the tree? I want to take the bonsai tree. Can I shoot you? I guess I've got no choice then, so there is nothing else left to be done. I've done that. Hangar it is. Dr. De Boer's key card. Open the door. Alright, let's see who's in here. You unlatch the front of the portable sub-terminal's casing and activate the device, watching pensively as it runs through its startup sequence. Once complete, you hurriedly run through all the necessary options as quickly as you can, doing your best to ensure that you use the least amount of battery power necessary. One last thing. Keycard. You quickly unfasten the pouch you've placed the doctor's keycard in, withdraw it, and slot it into the device. With the same infuriating slowness as all the others, the doors to the hangar begin to move. You waste no time in standing up and working your way through the tight gap before the doors are even a quarter of the way open. Noticing the absence of any signs of depressurization, you continue to force your way through the doors. I was wondering. As soon as you're through, you vault your way down the stairwell, skipping increasingly more steps at a time as the gravity disappears, until you're eventually floating past entire sets of stairs altogether. Setting your radio to broadcast with one hand and grabbing the guardrail in front of you with the other, you call out into the dark void of the hangar. Hello, is anyone in here? Hello, this is Lieutenant Finch from the JFS Gundog. We've come to help. Hello. You peer into the darkness, straining to see any signs of life. You knew that you'd heard activity in here from the other side of the doors, so Ooh. Ugh. What the fuck is that? The fuck is that fucking thing? What the fuck? Hello?
I was thinking that when you said it as well.
Whoa, scary. You stand frozen in place, unable to move your legs, unable to speak as the huge machine that has just pulled itself out of the darkness looms over you. It's unlike anything you've seen before. No ship, shuttle, armored frame, or worker pod that you know of looks the slightest bit like this. As you will yourself to do something, anything, the thing in front of you remains totally motionless, until suddenly, something deep inside you tells you that you've only got moments to react to whatever's going on. You slowly raise both your hands, palms spread, and take a step towards the thing. If this was the craft that the O'Brien's pilots had recovered, then there might be a member of the crew who'd taken shelter in there, you reason. I'm Lieutenant Finch from the JFS Gundog. We've come to help you reactivate the O'Brien. You wait for a response, but neither hear nor see anything that indicates whoever is on board has acknowledged you. Whoever's in that thing, I'm Lieutenant Finch from the JFS Gundog. We've come to... You pause, having just noticed the sparks of electricity appearing around the most forward protrusion of the machine. Within a few seconds, you see it illuminated from the inside by an intense light. Oh fuck, I'm dead! Acting entirely on instinct, you launch yourself sideways, only just in time to avoid a searing beam of light so bright you involuntarily squeeze your eyes shut and look away. He shot at me! As your vision returns, you look at where the beam had been focused and see warped and molten metal surrounding a deep gash that runs along the part of the catwalk where you'd been stood, and then up the wall near the entrance. Through the vertical slice taken out of the wall, you can see the beam had penetrated all the way to the rear of the stairwell, slicing through the first set of steps in the process. Looking back to the machine that had just torn through the interior of the O'Brien with ease, you see the same electrical sparks and glowing light at the front of the craft. Get behind the fucking thing! The same survival instinct which made you dive out the way of the last bump kicks in, and you push off the catwalk a split second before another pulse of light lances from the machine, liquefying the steel where you stood moments before. Grabbing the edge of the entrance into the stairwell, you redirect yourself, push off the wall, sending yourself up past the half-melted set of steps toward the door into the thoroughfare. As you stumble into the corridor, you grab your radio. Hanson, get to the Juno right now. We need to leave. You yell as you bolt for the central hub. Hanson, do you hear me? We need to get off this ship immediately. Oh shit. Hanson! You scream one last time before sprinting down the remainder of the Foresight thoroughfare. As you pass the boundary into the central hub, the corridor behind you is illuminated with another intense flash of light. You don't turn around, instead continuing at speed towards the airlock where the Juno had been left. Hanson, I'm serious. We need to leave now before the ship's torn to pieces. Get off the bridge and get down here. With no response from Hanson, your mind races. You're doing your best to formulate a plan when you look back at the Foresight thoroughfare and see it scored with huge cuts that run from floor to ceiling, the liquefied metal of the ship's structure framing their paths. Ah, damn it! The same instinct that had saved you in the hangar kicks in. You turn towards the airlock, racing towards the open entrance, the stars and sea in the distance. As you head towards the open cockpit of the armored frame, you try and remember the startup sequence that let you pilot it out of here. You begin to climb up the Juno's chest. As you reach the top, look inside to see the pilot seat empty. God damn it, Cruis, where are you? Looking back towards the entrance to the airlock and seeing no one in the distance, you know you have a choice to make. Wait for Hanson, fucker. Ah! You cry in frustration, slamming your fist on the cockpit hatch. Despite every instinct you have screaming at you to run, you know you can't just abandon Hanson. Regardless of his personality, he's still a crewmate. Your eyes fix on the corridor leading to the airlock as you wait for him to appear. You know he hadn't received your radio signals, but he must have seen what was happening to the ship from the bridge. Come on. You mutter, your right leg beginning to twitch in anticipation. Oof! I'm liking these little animations. They're very cool. Wait for Hanson. As the beam of energy tears through the airlock floor and ceiling, you barely react. You've made your decision and you're going to wait for Hanson until the last possible second. Cruis your ass, you asshole. You better get yourself into this Juno right now, or I swear to God You'll what, sir? At the entrance to the room containing the airlock, you see Hanson, black box under one arm, running at full speed towards you. I'm here now. Guess it's a shame I won't see what discipline you had planned out for me. Ensign, shut up and get us out of here. Whatever you say, sir. In one swift motion, Hanson pulls himself up into the cockpit entrance and disappears inside. As soon as he's in, you enter after him and quickly begin to buckle yourself into the passenger seat. In just a few seconds, Hanson pulls a lever that seals the Juno's cockpit and works his way through the entire startup sequence. Even before the main monitor is active, he pulls back on the flight sticks, and you feel the rumble of the Juno's engines moving the armored frame away from the ship as the main view screen switches on, showing the O'Brien shrinking into the distance. Bye! Pause. You should be able to count.
Do you know what's funny about the picture I posted?
What's that?
The woman who owns Mochi said she looks just like Mochi's younger years. And I said, me and my partner discussed your Mochi quite a lot actually because they look so similar. Fun fact though, I think there's only a month or so between their ages because Peanut turns 4 years.
That's what I read. Because I thought they were from the same litter.
Yeah. They look very similar. Like, and Mochi's ears are like the key because they're slightly rounded, whereas hers are not. So they look quite similar.
More Doberman-y.
Yeah, she's a bit more brown in the nose as well.
What did you do? 1 minute I'm pulling the black box, the next I can see a light show going on outside, and some kind of laser beam nearly cuts me in half. I didn't do anything. There was something in the hangar, and then it went off. It was tearing the whole ship apart from the inside. So you tripped an AF's weapon system or something? Can't let you anywhere near these things without you causing problems. You're about to continue critical protests at Hansen when you see a column of light penetrate the surface of the O'Brien. What the fuck? That's it. It's gotta be some sort of prototype AF or something. I've never seen a weapon like it. Tore through the O'Brien's hull like paper. The hell kind of weapon is that? No idea, but we need to warn the Gundog. Get back to the Gundog right now. What? Leave that thing out here? Whatever that thing is, it's just shredded the O'Brien from the inside out with a weapon we've never encountered before. Our comms are out, and if it takes us down and gets the drop on the Gundog, they'll be sunk in seconds. Hansen looks from you to the screen, showing the strange craft atop the O'Brien's hull, and after a moment of deliberation, turns the Juno towards the Gundog and sets off at maximum thrust. If we can warn them, maybe Dylan can get it on the long-range system and take it down for the cannons before it... Damn it. You grip tightly onto your seat as Hansen struggles to reorient the armored frame. Something had just struck you. Hard. Hard. As the ensign regains control over the Juno, you see the enemy machine disappearing into the distance on the main monitor. That thing just slammed into us and took off like nothing happened. What the hell is it? It's headed straight for the Gundog. Go, now! What do you think I'm doing? Hansen barks as he resumes maximum thrust, causing your machine to judder and shake. As the enemy shrinks into the distance of the Juno's monitor, Hansen doesn't let up on the speed, maintaining the high level of acceleration. The tremors you can feel in the cockpit grow more intense the faster the armored frame moves. Grabbing onto the straps holding you in place with both hands, you pass your eyes over the readouts of the cockpit's various dials and sub-monitors. Alert, alert, warning. Almost all of them are flashing warnings or alerts, with the needles on the majority of the gauges deep in the red. Cruis, if you keep this up, the Juno's gonna fall apart. Slow it down. Hansen smirks at your order, scoffing as he somehow finds more acceleration and increases the vibrations to the point that you feel like they'll shake you to pieces any moment. This is my Juno, Lieutenant. Don't tell me how to treat her. She's not as delicate as she looks. And we're gonna need all she's got to get back to the Gundog before that thing. Cruis, if we get back and we're dead. Yeah, you can write me up to the captain when that happens. You groan and close your eyes, trying to ignore the beeping that started and the high-pitched whine you hear coming from the back of the cockpit. You're aware of every second that passes as the two of you race back to the Gundog, the tension worsened by the near-constant screaming of the warning systems. With Hansen in control, all you can do is hope that you get back in time before the Gundog can be cut to pieces by the weapon you've seen make short work of the O'Brien. You've lost track of how long you've been pursuing the enemy when suddenly some garbled static bursts from the speakers and a shrill and panicked voice screeches at you. I repeat, this is Lieutenant Lord of the JFS Gundog. We're under attack by an unknown enemy unit. Any JCF ships in range, please respond. Lord, this is Gundog 1, approaching the Gundog at... Cruis, where have you been? Get back to the ship right now. We're under fire from something. Hansen rolls his eyes as he's cut off by Vanessa's demand. Roger that, ma'am. Gundog 1 returned now. Shaking his head rather than following up with an answer, Hansen quickly flicks a few switches and you see the readouts and some monitors switch to display information about the armored frame's weapon systems. Oh shit. As he does this, you turn your attention to the main monitor in the distance. In the distance, you can see the small lights flickering in and out, surrounding a point in space. The on-screen readouts inform you is the Gundog. The Juno approaching the ship at speed, you can see that the lights are actually rounds being rapidly fired from the Gundog's point defense system, a collection of rotary cannons mounted on turrets along the ship's exterior. You can tell from their short bursts and the erratic shifts in the direction they're firing that the machine you ran into on the O'Brien is moving both quickly and unpredictably, with the automated cannons unable to keep up. Lord, this is Gundog 1. We're back at... Cruis, what the hell is that thing? How would I know? Ah, useless. You hear Hansen mutter something under his breath, too quietly for the communication system to pick up. Just destroy it. We've already taken some heavy hits to the port hull. Yeah, I got it. Just tell Dees to watch that anti-air. As the Juno closes in on the Gundog... Whoa! That was cool. As the Juno closes in on the on the Gundog, you watch the trajectory of the shots being fired from the point defense system, knowing that they indicate where the enemy machine was rather than where it is. Based on the speed at which it's moving, you know that you're going to have the chance of taking this thing down. You'll need to figure out a way to get ahead of it. You're about to make this observation to Hansen, but you see a deep focus on his face. His eyes tracing the path the enemy moves along as it weaves around the barrage coming from the ship. With a sudden flurry of motion on the controls, Hansen adjusts the armored frame's trajectory, sending it soaring uncomfortably close to the Gundog's bridge, just in time to intercept the strange craft as it rises up from the far side of the ship. Reusing the same evasive maneuvers, amateur, Hansen yells. Slamming down on the pedals, Hansen positions a Juno over the top of the enemy, and you hear a heavy click as he pulls the trigger on the right flight stick. Too easy. That's fucking cool. That's way more animation than I was expecting. As the rounds from the machine gun slam into the target, Hansen presses down on a button to the left on the left flight stick, sending a volley of missiles roaring away from the Juno's shoulder pod and directly into the enemy, engulfing it in an explosion. Hello, puppy. Can I help you? Are you okay there, puppy? We're in the middle of a cool space battle. Yeah, probably. Rubbing them all up my nose. You want to join us for this cool action scene? Or did you sort of break my nose in your face? Ow. Yeah. I still think I see them from time to time. It's funny.
We used to get bruises like on the tip of his nose because she would like constantly nibble.
Yeah.
And like I thought he was just joking about it, but then she kept doing it to me, and like one day I was rubbing my nose and it felt a bit sore. I was like, what the fuck? Did I get like smacked my nose or something? And then I saw like a little bit of a bruise. I was like, wait, that's Peanuts doing.
This little beastie behavior.
I just didn't know it was possible, but I guess like the skin of your nose is probably quite sensitive in terms of bruising. It's just that it doesn't really tend to get bruised there, so I'm assuming it's quite sensitive.
See, she's nibbling on my nose right now. We talked about it and now she's different.
Yeah.
Too cute. You can't see the screen, people. Your face is in my face. Yes, I love you too, PP. Am I allowed to breathe now? Please. You can stay there though, that's fine. Doesn't matter how powerful the machine is if the pilot's no good. What? What? As the smoke clears, staring back at you, sticking her nose up my nose. Why are you doing this? I'm not doing it back to you, that's weird. As the smoke clears, staring back. This is trying to be a cool, epic moment, and all I'm getting is pee-pee face. The machine that you've just seen hit by a solar missile, each one individually powerful enough to destroy another armored frame. Instead of being totally destroyed, the craft looks completely fine. You don't even see the hint of a scorch mark on its armor. What's this thing made of? Pencil snarls, pulling the trigger on the right fight stick again. This time emptying the entire magazine into the target. Even good. As if totally indifferent to Hansen's assault, the craft turns to face you, and you see an increasingly bright light begin to build up in front of it. It sparks and crackles of electricity running along its nearby surfaces. Move! Don't tell me how to pilot! The ensign yells back at you as he navigates the Juno away from the beam that tears through the space he's just occupied. Only seconds after what felt like a moment of triumph, the tables have been so roughly, thoroughly turned, you find yourself being slammed from side to side as Hansen executes a rapid series of maneuvers in an attempt to escape the enemy's pursuit. Huge beams of energy blast through the space around you every few seconds as the Juno dives, climbs, rolls, and banks. Dip, duck, dodge, and dive. Isn't that what it is? Dip, duck. The 5 Ds of dodgeball. Dip, duck, dodge, dive, and duck. Oh, I need to look that up now.
You sound like you're counting Count Duckula or something. It's like something.
No, it's Rip Torn.
I know. It just
Dodge,
sounds
duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
That's
it.
Like,
5 Ds of dodgeball. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
it just sounds like a Count Duckula thing.
Yeah, it's not, it's dodgeball.
I know.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
You know, I honestly just don't remember if I've seen it myself, because it's one of those things where I've seen so many clips of it and people talk about it all the time, and I've seen it on YouTube and TikTok and all that. And I'm just like, have I watched that? Or have I just seen it like through clips that I feel like I have watched it, you know?
Good movie. We need to watch it. As he weaves through the hail of bullets coming from the Gundog's own defense systems and the attacks from the enemy machines, Hansen's breathing grows faster and faster. Oh dear.
Sorry.
She doesn't seem to be unhappy. I'm sorry, did I see you?
Sorry.
I should let her fall.
I was just like playing with her and she just speaks. Sorry.
Hansen, we can't outrun it. We're going to need to figure something out. His eyes flicker rapidly back and forth from monitor to gauge, and his hands twitching quickly.
Whenever I heard her, I feel like I'm
She doesn't seem to be happy.
sure.
She's absolutely fine.
I know, I just feel like a fucking like monster when it happens.
Sending the Juno darting from place to place, Hansen doesn't seem to notice you at all. Hansen! Hansen! What? This isn't working. We need to do something. Don't tell me how to pilot. Stow it. You can't keep this up forever. We need to figure something out. As you yell at Hansen, you get thrown into the side of the cockpit by a high-speed turn that pulls off just as the huge beam passes overhead, illuminating the cockpit as it brightens towards the light. Yeah. Come on then, sir. What do you have in mind? We should... Oop. Use Dolphin's creation. You rack your brain trying to come up with some way to stop this impervious enemy. You just watched it take a direct hit from frame-bursting missiles and come away without a scratch. If that didn't harm it, then nothing else the Juno would be able to stop it. Your thoughts race as you try to come up with a solution. How do you destroy the unbombable? That's it. What? If the missiles won't take the thing down, nothing else we've got is going to be able to destroy it. Great. So what, Lieutenant? Do you think we just surrender now and let it destroy us? That's not what I mean. If we can't destroy it, then we need to change tactics. We need to try to save. I don't know, wherever you put it.
Oh, fucking charging lead. I usually plug it down there because I don't know where it is.
I want everyone on top of me.
Alright.
Whoa.
Where does it seem to be down there?
Is that it?
Yeah, I think it is. Where's it supposed to
Ah. Pee-pee. Hansen glances across at you with a sneer, clearly about to criticize your idea. Your before he can respond, his attention is taken by another blast from the enemy's energy weapon, which he evades at the very last moment. Dalton's been working on a compound to seal hull breaches, but he's been turning it into ammunition for the Juno's machine gun too. If it works, we can trap this thing. That stuff's made to set hard enough to act as a new hull. There's no way it should escape. Hansen scoffs at you despite being in the middle of carrying out a maneuver involving suddenly braking, dropping downward through space, and letting the enemy machine fly overhead so that it can fire another volley of machine gun rounds on its underside. If it works, Lieutenant, what if it doesn't? Are you going to trust that little dork with our lives? Have you got a better idea? I trust him. That's what I was thinking would happen, Alice. That's what I thought. As the Juno continues to shake from the strain its engines are under, and the sudden spins and turns Hansen is making it perform, you manage to lean towards the communication system and press down a button that allows you to broadcast. Gundog, this is Gundog 1. Patch me through to Cadet Grange. Don't touch my controls. Shut up, Hansen. I repeat, Gundog, this is Gundog 1. Patch me through to Cadet. What do you want, Finch? We're just about to send Rumney out. The launch pad's damaged, so they're coming out the main hangar door. Deal with that thing for a few more minutes. Nothing we've got on the Junos are going to stop it, Lord. Just put me through to Dalton. He's busy getting Haru's AF out there. I'm in charge of this operation, Finch, so don't go distracting my... Lord, shut up. Put me through to Dalton right now. Lieutenant, we're doing our best to get Haru out there. We just need a... Dalton, forget about Haru. Did you manage to make any more of your sealant ammunition? Huh? Oh yeah, I managed to make enough for 2 whole magazines, but send it out now. But Lieutenant, I've not tested. Now, Dalton. Yes, sir. The cockpit shudders as the armored frame breaks suddenly, following a tight corner that takes it around the rear of the Gundog, out of sight of the attacker. Although you're slammed backwards, Hansen remains focused and unleashes a barrage of machine gun fire, just as the enemy soars past you. As you recover, you glare at Hansen. Was that necessary? Never waste ammo, Finch. Before the other craft can respond, Hansen quickly maneuvers away, and you see the empty magazine eject from the Juno's machine gun. Range, send the ammo out on a supply launch, heading 0 Mark 30 full thrust. Yes, sir. 0 Mark 30, launch in 4 minutes. Get it done in 2, kid. Yes, sir. With the enemy back in pursuit, Hansen brings the Juno up to full thrust as he navigates the armored frame above the Gundog into a location you know has the most pointed defense coverage. The pressure from the sudden acceleration pins you against your seat, but you manage to turn to look at Hansen, the mocking heat just given Dalton at the forefront of your mind despite everything. You watch as Hansen's eyes flick rapidly to the different screens and readouts within the cockpit, his hands moving almost too fast to perceive as he feathers and the flight sticks to simultaneously evade fire from the Gundog and the attacking craft. Yeah, there it is. You turn back to focus on the main monitor to see the enemy machine heading straight towards you. A charge that Hansen evades with a feint at the last possible moment. Thanks. You sigh, thinking that it probably wouldn't be a good time to distract the pilot. As the attacking craft speeds away into the distance before stopping suddenly and turning on its axis to head back towards the Gundog, Hansen turns the Juno and speeds towards the front of the ship, moving to the location he'd instructed Dalton to send the ammunition. With the main monitor now focused on the open main hangar door, you can see Dalton, just as ordered, sending a supply launch rocketing towards you. The launch, little more than a large sled with a series of thrusters attached, speeds through the void toward you, and in a smooth motion, Hansen moves to meet it. He deftly manipulates the armored frame's hands to grab the machine gun magazine tethered to it without needing to stop. Coming back just in time to evade another blast from the enemy cannon, Hansen slams the flight six forward, sending the armored frame tearing through space towards the opponent. There it is again. This better work, Finch. Before the craft can evade, Hansen brings the machine gun to bear on it and holds down the trigger, the rounds all meeting them. As the shots land, the enemy machine is engulfed in a sudden expanding mass that billows outward from the point of impact and spreads all over its surface. Within seconds, the attacker is encased in a thick coating of Dalton's compound, which sets as suddenly as it had expanded, leaving the craft's long appendages visibly struggling against the material's restraining properties. Hey, that stuff's not bad. Kid's done good work. But we're not done yet. Hold on, Lieutenant. Despite being almost entirely encompassed in the seams, your foe is still headed right for you. Where the hell do you think you're going? Hansen yells, sending the Juno straight towards the enemy. You're not going anywhere! With an impact that reverberates violently through the cockpit, the armored frame slams into the oncoming craft. Go to hell! All the way out here in space. That's some berserk shit right there. He watches with a rapid sequence of button presses on the right flight stick. Hansen commands the Juno to let go of its machine gun and draw its combat knife. The whole armored frame shakes with each impact as Hansen drives the knife over and over into one of the small portions of exposed armor showing amongst the massive ceiling. Your world becomes a cacophony of noise as the clash of the knife on the armored surface of the enemy machine. The screams of the Juno's engines as they struggle to counteract the other craft's thrust, and the various alarms and warnings fill the cockpit. 60. Down. Oh, go down, you. Ah, hell. Suddenly you're forced back into your seat by a rush of acceleration. Hansen, what's going on? You just about managed to turn your head against the force of the thrust to see Hansen shunting the flight sticks back and forth and stomping on the pedals. Its engines must have cut out, but the controls have gone on ours. I can't stop them. As Hansen continues to struggle with the controls, Vanessa screeches at you over the radio, sounding more panicked than ever. Cruis, you headed straight for the hangar. Change course, Cruis. I'm trying. Cruis, you're going to... Whoop whoop. April 23rd. Planetary calendar 214. Despite engine Cruis gaining an advantage against the unknown enemy craft that attacked the JFS Gundog, a mechanical failure in the engines of his Juno 3 resulted in both the unidentified machine and armored frame crashing into the ship's hangar. Lieutenant Finch and Ensign Cruis were both quickly extracted from the armored frame and sent to the ship's sickbay. Upon being cleared for duty, Lieutenant Finch is ordered to the hangar to help secure the enemy craft. The hangar of the Jovian patrol ship JFS Gundog. You stretch your neck from side to side and roll your shoulders as you wait for the captain's judgment. Dr. Rosarium had done his best for the neck injury you'd acquired during Hansen's less than textbook landing, but the captain had been insistent that your sole security officer returns to duty immediately. As a result, after a cursory once-over, the doctor had given you an anti-inflammatory injection on one side of your neck and an injection of painkillers on the other before sending you on your way. This had left your neck numb, and you with the vague sensation that your head could become detached at any moment, but at least you were up and about. Surveying the hangar, you know you should be thankful for this miracle. Both Hansen's Juno and the craft it had been fighting had entered the hangar at full thrust. If Dalton hadn't thought quickly and activated every single piece of arrest gear available, the two machines would have torn straight through into the belly of the Gundog. On top of that, they'd slammed into the storage container that held the tank he'd been keeping his experimental high-density foam in, causing it to rupture and coat the attacker in the substance and adhere it to the hangar floor. With the machine stuck in place, it didn't take long for the Juno's engines to burn out as it pushed against the immovable object. Okay, give her my love. And you. I love you too. You make a mental note to give Dalton your thanks later. Not only had the rounds loaded with the substance worked perfectly, it saved you, Hansen, and possibly the entire ship. What this did mean, though, was that the mysterious assailant, which had torn the O'Brien to pieces and nearly done the same to the Gundog, was stuck, irremovable for the time being, right in the middle of the hangar. It had shown no activity since it went dead just outside the gun dog. Having one of those eye-like cameras exposed didn't leave you... Is this craft secured, Lieutenant? Oh yes, ma'am. To be honest, Cadet Grange's foam has done most of the work for us. With the amount of that stuff it's covered with, I don't see it making a move anytime soon. Even the tethers we used aren't really necessary. Wow, my glasses are so covered in peanut slime. It's intense. When we get back to Europa Colony, it'll probably be easier to remove the entire hangar block to get this thing rather than carve it out. Is that so? Yes, ma'am. You wait for a moment as the captain allows your response to her rhetorical question to hang in the air. As far as capturing enemy technology goes, this could have certainly gone more smoothly. A bolt of anger shoots through your body, as if you had any right to criticize things going badly. I thought we all made mistakes. You immediately suppress this reaction as the captain turns back towards you. Regardless, you've done a good work today, Lieutenant Finch, Cadet Grange. Oh, ma'am, yes, thank you. Dalton, who'd been lurking at your side like a nervous shadow this entire time, squeaks. The unexpected compliment taking him completely by surprise. I mean, that is, if the container hadn't been in the area, then we wouldn't have lost so much hangar space, and I'm sorry that you swiftly but gently elbow the cadet in his side. Which is, thank you, ma'am. Very good, Cadet. Well, then... The captain once again leaves the sentence to trail off, half-formed. Whereas his manner of speech had previously left you disconcerted, with its indication that there was something the captain was holding back, you found yourself no longer bothered by it. Whether this was because you were used to it, or simply too tired to be perturbed, was a matter you hadn't quite decided on. Dalton, on the other hand, was still clearly terrified by the concept of being in such close proximity to the captain, to the point where his nervousness was palpable. If it wasn't for the rustling of his jumpsuit caused by his nervous fidgeting, he felt there was a good chance you'd be able to hear his heartbeat racing. Has the chief... I've finished my assessment of the craft, Captain. With an amount of grace that surprises you, the chief, having appeared from underneath the catwalk, grabs onto the handrail and effortlessly redirects her momentum, planting her feet firmly on the walkway you're stood on. Thank you, Chief Cathayes. And your assessment? Hard to say. Never seen anything like it. General structure is totally different from the humanoid construction you'd see on an AF. Whatever materials this thing is made of don't line up with what we see on Martian or Terran machines. Even the samples of that titanium that they make on Lunar didn't have the kind of durability this thing showed. Based on the combat data from Cruis AF, even that would have been torn apart. Plus, no indication of a traditional drive system, which... Your security assessment, Chief Cathayes. You stiffen as a wave of realization hits you, causing a painful twinge in your neck. As soon as you got out of the sickbay, the captain had ordered you to secure the craft. In your current state, still running on leftover adrenaline and recently dosed up on medication, you'd followed that order to the letter, completely forgetting about assessing any potential risks. Right. Yes, Captain. There's no signs to indicate that this craft is active anymore. No measurable electronic activity, no readings to suggest an active reactor. Looks like the whole thing has been totally shut down. The only thing that showed anything was a boson count. It's surrounded by a massive amount of residual distortion. No idea why, though. You'd need a whole engine to put out the amount of I'm registering around it. As far as I can tell, Captain, whatever this thing might be, it's not doing anything anytime soon. I see. And the pilot? If there's anyone in there, they aren't getting out. Checked over all the visible portions of its structure, and there's no trace of a cockpit hatch or any entry panel. With how strong Cadet Grange's compound is, there's no way they'd be able to break through. You must have gone pretty heavy on the cyanocryolites. Huh, Cadet? Chief asks with a wink. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am, It's a good thing, Cadet. If you hadn't, this thing might have been able to tear its way out and continue its rampage through the ship's insides. Best way I can put it, Captain, I hope they've got enough oxygen and emergency rations in there to last them until we get back to Europa, because we aren't getting them out. And you, Lieutenant? You'd hope the Chief's explanation would suffice, but the Captain had turned her attention to you. Gonna agree with you. I think Chief Cathays has just about everything, just about covered it. So I didn't see anything that looked like a hatch when we were securing it, so I didn't think anything was getting out of there. I see nothing to add. You spend a brief moment trying to come up with some other comment you can add to what the chief said. Feeling another twinge in your neck layer over the already present exhaustion, you realize you simply don't have the energy. No, ma'am. Well, that makes life easier. Swift classes aren't designed with brakes. The captain takes a moment to move to the railings and places her hands into them, resting what little of her weight remains in this low gravity on the support, whilst also drumming her fingers against them. As you watch Captain Bartlemews, you see the brief glimmer of a spark in her eyes, this slight change transforming her in front of you from the consistently disinterested captain you know to a canny, analytical version of herself. She turns back to face you, pivoting on one hand, and she keeps on the railing. In that case, our priority is getting this back to Europa Colony, where it can be investigated properly. The less time we have this on board, the less risk it poses to us. Chief Cathays, I want those engines online now. Cadet Grange, I want Ensign Cruis, Juno, fully operational and combat ready. If this decides to reactivate, I want to be ready for it. Lieutenant Finch, I want you on active patrol until Ensign Cruis is out of sickbay. You, Rumney, and Cruis will be carrying out patrols around the clock until we dock at Europa. This thing has shown itself to be full of surprises. Just because you can't see a way for the pilot to get out doesn't mean there isn't one. Carry out a normal patrol and then report back to me. I'll be in my quarters writing this up. Understood? The three of you snap to attention and throw a salute in perfect synchronization. Even the chronically fidgety Dalton maintains a perfectly still, professional countenance. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very good. Dismissed. With a shove against the railing, the captain launches herself towards the hangar entrance, and the three of you drop your stiff postures as soon as she's out of sight. Hell of a day, huh, Lieutenant? You roll your shoulders once again, trying to get rid of the stiffness that's working its way back into your neck. That's putting it mildly. As you think back over the day, it feels like it's been a week long, even with everything that's happened. It felt like you hadn't slept for that long either. You're not wrong, Chief. As you look back at the enemy craft, you can't help but feel its exposed camera lens is pointed straight at you. Swallowing nervously, you turn away. The unwavering mechanical glare fills you with a sense of dread. So what do you think? Is it really out of action? Like I told the captain, as far as I can tell, this thing isn't going anywhere soon. Still, it doesn't mean that I want to hang around with it glued to the inside of my hangar. Sooner we get back to Europa, the better. And to that, I need to get the Gundog's engines up and running. So I'm going to head back to the engine room. We've all got jobs to do, no time to stand around chatting if we want to get our unexpected passenger back to Europa Colony. Cadet, Chief. The main thruster module on Cruis's Juno is completely fried. Don't bother trying to salvage it, it's going to need a wholesale replacement, understood? Yes, Chief. Alright then, both of you, get to it. With that, the Chief launches herself off a nearby railing towards the hangar entrance. Much like you had with the captain earlier, you watch as she disappears, relaxing slightly once she's out of sight. As you look around your surroundings, you see that Dalton has already made his way towards Hansen's Juno, leaving you alone. You kick off the catwalk and begin to gently drift towards the hangar exit, taking one last look back at the hangar before you leave. Aside from the sounds of Dalton's exploratory tinkering on Hansen's Juno and the background hum of various air handling systems, the hangar was effectively silent. This made the sight of the previously hostile machine lifelessly positioned right in the middle of it all the stranger. Still, the Chief seemed adamant that there was no chance it was going to go anywhere. And looking at it now, you have no reason not to believe her. Time to patrol then. Visit engineering, visit fire control. Despite everything, both Junos are actually in pretty good condition, ignoring the burned out engines on Hansen at least. Thanks to Dalton triggering the arrestor gear at the right time, Hansen's Juno was caught before it could get covered in foam. You grip the railing and lean forward, shifting yourself into a position where you can view as much of the machine and the surrounding mass of rock solid foam as possible. Just like the chief said, no signs of activity, no signs of life. Your grip tightens as you remember your encounter with it. Hello. If you've come to help again, have you? Bye-bye. Your grip tightens as you remember your encounter with it. Even though you've not been the one piloting, being there whilst Hansen had fought tooth and nail just to stay alive had shown you how dangerous it was, how powerful. If it hadn't been for Dalton's foam rounds, how much longer would Hansen have been able to hold out? The fact that it had been almost unstoppable until suddenly deactivating had started to nag at you as you stared at it. Had it really been stopped, or was there something else going on? I'm gonna guess that now that it's here in our ship, in the Gundog, it's working on, invading our system or something. With the hatches below the armored frames damaged in the attack, if either of them need to leave the hangar, they're just going to go through the main door. Hopefully we don't see any more action for the rest of this mission. Most of it looks to still be in working order. It's going to be tricky to use it for anything, considering how full the hangar is now, though. That stack of crates is everything that Dalton could salvage after the crash. A good portion of our supplies were destroyed, sucked out into space, or stuck inside that huge mess. It shouldn't be a problem since we head straight back to Europa, but if we're out here much longer, it could become an issue. No one's actually had time to check what we have lost. Let's talk to Dalton. Hey, Dalton. You shout across the hangar as you shove off the railings towards him. Hopefully, that by giving the cadet as much notice as possible, you won't spook. Lieutenant, how can I help you, sir? You sigh inwardly. Although he wasn't alarmed or shocked, you could tell he was more nervous than usual. Nothing to worry about, cadet, just part of the patrol. Making sure to check in on everyone. How are you doing? Oh, I'm doing alright, Lieutenant. Thank you. Are you sure? It didn't seem possible for Dalton to be more apprehensive, but looking at him now, you could see something eating away at him. Are you sure about that, cadet? Well, in the span of a half sentence, Dalton goes from a bundle of nerves and nervous energy to totally deflated. I don't want to be here anymore. Everything's going wrong and it keeps getting worse. And I have to be here alone with the thing and I'm scared. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. No, he Dalton. It's alright, don't. Taking them back, you tentatively move towards the cadet, raising your arm to lay a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Dalton bats your hand away, simultaneously wiping his eyes with arms with his sleeve. His eyes with his sleeve, smearing tears across his face. No, I'm fine, sir. I'm just a little bit stressed out. It's been a tough, but I need to fix the... hello again. You move forward again, but before you can reach him, he spins, preparing to kick off the Juno towards the crates on the other side of the hangar. Let him go. You reach out to stop the cadet, but draw your hand back moments before he launches himself off the armored frame. As he disappears amongst the crates, you sigh. As much as you'd like to comfort him, there's other things going on right now that need your attention. Besides, you're a security officer, not a counselor. How much help could you be? It's not that I don't want to help him, it's just that there's sometimes you just need to leave people to it. You know. You vault over the railings and kick off gently towards the strange machine, taking in every visible detail as you slowly float over to it. Grabbing onto a protrusion from the mass of foam, you redirect yourself, continuing to inspect the machine from a different perspective. You calmly and methodically repeat the process a few more times, before returning to the catwalk near the hangar entrance. Like the chief said, no sign of any sort of hatch or cockpit. This thing may be powerful, but there's no way a pilot would be able to break through all of this. I think we could just use some alone time right now. Probably wouldn't help if I went and bothered him. I'm just going to be doubting the machines is high enough at the best of times. Now's really not a good time to try and learn how to use them. Okay, now we can move on. But on that note, that was a thoroughly exciting and very meandering session. I apologize for all the very off-topic conversations, but sometimes you just get in the mood to talk about dogs and such. But yeah, still loving this very much. That was a really cool sequence. I wasn't expecting there to be that much animation, properly animated sprite work and stuff. Very beautiful stuff. Look, super good. And I am certainly super eager to to see what else is going on, what the hell that thing is, and how we're going to deal with it. Of course, I am also pretty sure that it is currently right now fucking with the Gundog systems, so we're going to have way more trouble in the short term before we even get it somewhere safe. But yeah, so as I say every time, please go out and get this yourself. As you can see, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of different choices and stuff that I'm not going through, so even if you've watched this far, and you watch me play it to the end, there will be plenty of stuff for you to check out for yourself that I won't be going through, so hopefully, whole new experience to be found regardless. Other than that, please do go and check out the creative team behind this. Like I said, Space Colony Studios over on Blue Sky. Space Colony Studios, that's John Durham, the guy behind this whole thing. He created it, he wrote it, all that jazz. Art by K. Butzman. K. Butz Savage. Damn it. God damn it. I will memorize this at some point, I'm sure. That is K. Butz Corners. That's K-B-U-T-Z K-O-R-N-E-R for the art. And Flumby Dumby, otherwise known as Daniel, who did the music. That's F-L-U-M-B-E-E-D-U-M-B-E-E on Blue Sky. Check them all out. Buy it for yourself. It's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And the physical copies, which I believe are available on Play Asia, have started showing up and are beautiful. I should see if I can maybe track one down myself, because as much as I love having this digitally, it'd be great to have it on my shelf. I think my friends got it for the Switch version. It is also available on the Switch, obviously on Steam, on PS5 and Xbox, so it's there. No excuse. Check it out. And as for me, I thank you all very much for joining us, for checking this out and watching this, and I hope that you don't get trapped in crazily moving vehicles, and that you don't have to be battered around in the middle of some sort of space fight, or in a more realistic situation, I suppose, maybe like a road fight, or a boat, or a lift, or something like that. Just don't get trapped in stuff, and don't get battered around. I hope you have a nice, relaxing rest of your week. Don't wind up in foam, unless that's exactly what you want, because I know some people do that and are into it. Other than that, see you again probably on the weekend. Might be some more Final Fantasy VII. Might be more of this. Haven't decided. We'll find out when we get there. But until then, bye-bye.